You ever wake up one day and feel the weight of every year you threw away? That heavy feeling in your chest, the quiet anger, the regret, the I could have been more? That's your soul screaming at you, begging you to stop letting time slip through your fingers. 2026 isn't another year, it's your final warning. Life doesn't pause, dreams don't wait, and opportunities don't knock twice. You've watched others rise while you stood still, convincing yourself one day. But one day is a lie that steals decades. The world doesn't care how tired you are, how hard your past was, or how scared you feel. What matters is whether you stand up now, today, in this moment, and decide that the next years of your life will not be wasted like the last. Pressure is a gift. Responsibility is a privilege. And discomfort is the doorway to power. There are people younger than you doing more. There are people older than you refusing to quit. So what's your excuse? Your future self is watching, begging you to fight back, to push harder, to evolve. 2026 belongs to those who refuse to waste another second. No more pity, no more fear, no more wasted years. This is the year you become undeniable. Discipline is the foundation of freedom. Without it, you'll forever be a slave to your emotions. People don't realize how many of their problems come from the simple fact that they refuse to control themselves. They wake up only when they feel like it, work only when they feel motivated, chase goals only when the mood strikes. And then they wonder why life feels heavy, chaotic, directionless. Emotions are unstable. They shift with the weather, with stress, with opinions, with fear. If you live according to emotion, you live a life controlled by weakness. Discipline is the opposite. Discipline is structure. Discipline is clarity. Discipline is the quiet voice that tells you to rise even when your mind whispers to stay asleep. It's the force that pulls you through pain, pushes you through doubt, and keeps you moving when everything inside you begs for comfort. Most people will never taste real freedom because they don't understand that freedom isn't doing whatever you want. Freedom is having the power to do what you must. Freedom is the ability to command your mind and body, not negotiate with your laziness. Without discipline, every dream becomes a fantasy. You can visualize success all day, but without discipline, you will never build the bridge from imagination to reality. Every goal demands sacrifice. Every achievement requires consistency. Every transformation requires 1,000 days of doing the things you don't want to do. Discipline is the engine that turns desire into destiny. When you lack discipline, life becomes a prison. You're chained by procrastination, trapped by hesitation, controlled by the ups and downs of your emotions. You become a victim of your own mind, constantly starting, constantly stopping, constantly promising yourself that tomorrow you'll do better. But tomorrow never comes for the undisciplined. Tomorrow becomes the excuse that destroys their potential. Days turn into weeks, weeks into months, and suddenly they look back at their life and realize they've wasted years running in circles. Discipline breaks that cycle. Discipline builds momentum. It takes an ordinary person and turns them into a machine, focused, relentless, unstoppable. A disciplined life creates confidence. When you do what you said you would do, even when it's hard, you build trust in yourself. Most people don't lack confidence. They lack proof that they can rely on themselves. They break their own promises daily. They say they'll wake up early. They don't. Say they'll hit the gym. They skip. Say they'll stay consistent. They quit. Every broken promise damages their self-respect. Discipline restores that respect. It rebuilds your identity from the inside out. When you practice discipline, you stop asking, can I? And start telling yourself, I will. Emotions stop dictating your life because you no longer negotiate with weakness. You become the type of person who does the difficult things with or without motivation. That is freedom. Freedom from the chaos of your mind, freedom from emotional instability, freedom from doubt. Discipline creates results that motivation never could. Motivation fades, but discipline remains. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the fire that never goes out. That fire is what turns suffering into strength, repetition into mastery, effort into excellence. And here's the truth. Discipline is not natural at first. It's uncomfortable, it's frustrating, it's unfamiliar, but discomfort is the tuition you pay for greatness. Every time you push through resistance, you carve a stronger version of yourself. You train your mind to obey. You teach your emotions they are not in control. And eventually, discipline becomes your default state. You stop fighting the process and start craving the challenge. You stop waiting for the right moment and start creating it. The world respects disciplined people because they are rare. They are the ones who rise before dawn, who work when others rest, who push when others fold, who finish what others barely start. They build empires not because they're gifted, but because they show up every single day, no matter what they feel. If you want to change your life, stop chasing motivation. Build discipline. Build the ability to do what matters, even when it's hard, even when you're tired, even when it feels unfair, because the moment you master discipline, the world opens for you. You become dangerous in the best way. You become someone who moves with purpose, someone who can't be stopped by mood swings or setbacks, someone who knows that freedom comes from self-control, not comfort. Discipline is the foundation of freedom. Without it, you drift. With it, you rise. And once you rise with discipline, no one can ever put you back in the cage of your old habits again. Discipline is the foundation of freedom. Without it, you'll forever be a slave to your emotions. Most people never understand how dangerous it is to let emotions decide the direction of their life. Emotions are unstable, temporary, impulsive, and easily manipulated by fear, doubt, stress, and the opinions of others. When emotions control you, your life becomes unpredictable, inconsistent, and weak. You wake up some days motivated, some days empty. You push hard when you feel good and completely fall apart when you feel tired or discouraged. That inconsistency destroys potential. It kills momentum. It builds a life of constant almost, where you almost improved, almost changed, almost succeeded, but never fully committed. Discipline is the force that breaks that trap. It is the internal structure that keeps you moving even when your emotions try to stop you. Without discipline, you may have dreams, but you'll never have results. You'll have ambition, but never achievement. Discipline is what takes the emotional chaos inside your mind and turns it into a stable, powerful engine of progress. It's not built on how you feel. It's built on who you decide to become. When you choose discipline, you choose to rise above temporary emotions. You choose to act based on purpose, not mood. You choose to show up even when everything in you screams for comfort. That is the moment your life transforms. Because when you operate through discipline, you create habits that no emotion can break. You create consistency that no bad day can destroy. You create progress that no fear can stop. People who live undisciplined lives constantly wait for motivation. They wait for the right moment, the right mindset, the right energy. But waiting is a trap. Motivation is unreliable. It disappears the moment life gets difficult. Discipline doesn't disappear. Discipline doesn't care about excuses or feelings. Discipline shows up regardless of circumstances. That is why disciplined people win, because while everyone else is controlled by emotion, they are controlled by commitment. Discipline rewires your mind. It teaches you to lean into discomfort, not run from it. It teaches you to push through challenges, not collapse under them. It builds mental strength, emotional resilience, and the ability to stay steady when life becomes unpredictable. And in a world of uncertainty, that steadiness is power. Without discipline, your life will always be ruled by impulses. Scrolling for hours, skipping responsibilities, choosing comfort over growth, choosing distraction over purpose. Those small emotional decisions stack up, and before you realize it, they shape who you become. A year goes by and you feel stuck. 5 years go by and you feel behind. 10 years go by and you don't recognize your own life anymore. Not because you lack potential, because you lack discipline. But the moment you choose discipline, everything changes. You reclaim control of your thoughts, your actions, your path. You stop being dragged by emotions and start directing your life with intention. You stop hoping things will get better and start making them better. Discipline is the silent foundation behind every strong, successful, powerful person. It's the reason they wake up early, stay focused, work consistently, and follow through. They don't do it because they feel like it. They do it because they decided to. And that decision is what sets them free. Freedom is not the ability to do whatever you want. That kind of freedom leads to laziness, chaos, wasted years, and regret. Real freedom is the ability to command yourself, to control your urges, to overcome your emotional impulses. Real freedom is knowing that no matter what happens, you can rely on your own discipline to carry you through. Discipline gives you mastery over your life. It frees you from the patterns that once trapped you. It frees you from the emotional storms that once controlled you. It frees you from the weakness that once held you back. Discipline is the doorway to a stronger, more focused, more unstoppable version of yourself. And once you build it, it becomes your greatest weapon. Because the person who has discipline, real discipline, cannot be broken by emotions, setbacks, opinions, or fear. They are guided by something deeper, purpose. Discipline is the foundation of freedom. Without it, you live in chains. With it, you rise above everything that once controlled you. And the moment you choose discipline, you begin the journey to becoming someone your old self never believed you could be. Discipline is the foundation of freedom. Without it, you'll forever be a slave to your emotions. Every person who has fallen short, every dream that has died too early, every potential that never turned into reality, almost all of it traces back to one simple truth. Emotions were allowed to lead, and discipline was ignored. Emotions are loud, dramatic, and persuasive. They convince you that you're too tired to work, too stressed to focus, too sad to improve, too overwhelmed to take responsibility. They make excuses sound reasonable and comfort feel necessary. But emotions lie. They whisper that you should rest when you haven't earned rest. They tell you to slow down when life is already slipping away from you. They convince you to take the easy path. The path that feels good now but destroys you later. People don't fail because they are incapable. They fail because they obey their emotions more than their goals. They allow the ups and downs of their inner world to control the direction of their outer world. That is the ultimate form of slavery, being ruled by your feelings instead of your purpose. Discipline frees you from that prison. It is the internal power that forces you to act even when emotions try to paralyze you. Discipline is the structure that keeps your life together when your mind wants to fall apart. It's the force that says, get up, when your emotions say, stay down. It's the voice of strength that refuses to negotiate with weakness. When you have discipline, emotions become background noise, not commands. You feel tired, but you still work. You feel discouraged, but you still show up. You feel anger, sadness, laziness, frustration, but none of it stops your forward movement. That is true power, the ability to move regardless of emotional weather. Most people let emotions decide their entire life. They quit because they felt overwhelmed. They walk away because they felt unprepared. They avoid challenges because they felt scared. They ruin relationships because they felt insecure. They waste years because they felt unmotivated. Living by emotion means your life changes every time your mood changes. It means your future becomes unpredictable because your feelings are unpredictable. One emotional breakdown can erase months of progress. One emotional dip can destroy a routine you worked hard to build. Suddenly you're back at zero, wondering why life never changes. But life didn't fail you. Lack of discipline did. Discipline gives you stability. It makes you steady when emotions swing wildly. It protects your goals from emotional sabotage. It builds a version of you that doesn't crumble under emotional pressure. Because discipline isn't about forcing yourself to be emotionless. It's about refusing to let emotions dictate your actions. Even the strongest people feel fear. Even the most successful feel doubt. Even the most focused feel tired. But disciplined people keep moving anyway. They understand that freedom is not the absence of emotion. Freedom is the ability to act regardless of emotion. Every successful transformation comes from moments where discipline won over emotion. The moments you showed up to work when you didn't feel like it. The moments you stayed consistent when motivation vanished. The moments you kept pushing even when your heart felt heavy. The moments you said no to distractions even when they were tempting. And every time you choose discipline over emotion, you strengthen the muscle of self-control. You build a version of yourself capable of doing what others refuse to do. You build momentum, real momentum that can't be stopped by a bad mood or a rough day. Anyone can act when they feel good, but discipline is what makes you act when you don't. And that's what separates the average from the exceptional. The truth is, emotions will always be there. Some days you'll feel powerful, some days empty, some days confident, some days lost. But with discipline, you stay consistent through it all. You keep climbing even when the climb feels endless. You keep building even when no one sees your effort. You keep fighting even when the world feels heavy. That's how freedom is created. Freedom from emotional instability, freedom from mental chaos, freedom from your old habits, your old excuses, your old patterns. Discipline sets you free by putting you in control of your actions, your direction, your destiny. Without it, you'll always be held hostage by the shifting storms inside your mind. With it, you become unstoppable, unshakable, and undeniably powerful. Discipline is the foundation of freedom. Without it, emotions run your life. With it, you run your life. And once you learn to command yourself, there is no force on earth that can command you again. And now, as we come to the final moment of this message, I want you to breathe for a second and feel the shift inside you. Feel that spark, the one you tried to ignore for years, finally waking up. Everything you heard wasn't just motivation. It was a reminder of who you were always meant to be. A reminder that your life doesn't have to be a repeat of the past. A reminder that strength is already inside you, waiting for you to stop hesitating and start rising. The world will try to distract you, your emotions will try to weaken you, and your mind will try to pull you back into comfort. But if you choose discipline, if you choose consistency, if you choose to fight for the life you deserve, nothing can stop you. Not doubt, not fear, not failure. You stayed until the end because something in you refuses to give up. Something in you knows you were built for more. And I want you to carry that feeling into tomorrow, into next week, into the next year. Let today be the moment everything changed. Let today be the day you finally take control. Good luck on your journey, and thank you for staying with me until the very end.